I think most people understand the principle of agency to some degree. When people go out and buy or sell a home, they typically go through a real estate agent who they understand is somebody who's been hired to act on their behalf to help them in the purchase or sale. I think people understand that agency is typically a relationship where somebody acts on another person's behalf. But it's important to understand the implications of agency because as a litigation attorney, it's something that I come across all the time. Liability is sometimes created when somebody is acting on someone else's behalf. So to begin, agency is what we call a fiduciary relationship between two people. A fiduciary relationship means that they owe duties to each other. This kind of relationship is formed when one party, the agent, agrees to act on the other party's behalf. The other party is called the principal. Now, when this relationship is formed, the agent can sometimes subject the principal to liability through their actions. But first, to create this kind of relationship, both parties need to agree to it. That agreement could be through writing or through words. It could be implied, or it could be, the agreement could be shown through actions. But in any of those cases, you're going to have the opportunity to create that relationship. Now, it's important that both sides consent to that relationship, otherwise it's not going to be effective. I'll give you an example. Peyton Manning's had a big year. I'm a big fan. And it's incredible what he's done, especially at this stage in his career and after an injury. However, I cannot, as a big fan of his, just show up at the Denver Broncos facility and say, hello, I'm Micah McBride. I'm here as Peyton Manning's agent to renegotiate his contract. He deserves it. No matter how much Peyton Manning deserves it, and no matter how great I would do negotiating his contract, I cannot become his agent just because I decide to become his agent. I'd probably need to meet him first, and he would definitely need to agree to that relationship. So anytime you have an agent, they're going to need, both parties are going to need to agree to that kind of relationship for it to be formed. Now, when does this come up in the context for in the life of normal people like you and me? Well, first of all, in some states, by statute, if you are letting someone else drive your car in that state, that person is considered your agent. Now, in most states, that's not going to be the case. But let's say that person were to go and get in a car accident because they were negligent in driving your car. In those states, you could be held liable as the principal in that agency relationship. So you need to be careful about who you let drive your car in one of those states. And you should probably be careful about who you let drive your car in any state for reasons other than agency. Another situation, and probably one of the most common situations for this to come up in, is in employment. If you're an employer and you have employees, especially real employees rather than independent contractors, if you control not only what they do but how they do it, you could really be subjecting yourself to liability. Now, I'm not saying that you just fire all your employees and do everything on your own. That's generally not the right way to run a business. But what I am saying is you need to be careful about who you hire, and you need to be careful about how you have them go about your business, about their business as your employee. For example, if one of your employees is doing their best to serve your interests and do what they think you want them to do, and while they're doing that, they hurt somebody in a way that is an assault or a battery, something of that nature that could lead to a lawsuit, most of the time you're going to be liable as the principal in that relationship for their actions, as if they were your own. This is especially true for bouncers, repo people, that kind of thing, the kind of the kind of employees that are constantly going to be put in confrontational situations by you as their employer. So you need to be careful about that. In the end, you just need to be careful about who you agree to have represent you. Somebody to be an agent doesn't even have to be legally competent. They could be a minor or incompetent another way, and they basically are assumed to have your level of competence. So you need to be careful. You need to be careful about not only the person, but what you have them do, because you could be exposing yourself to liability. So that's just a brief overview of agency and how it can affect you. And if you have additional questions, you can always consult a local attorney in your area to give you a little bit more of an idea about what kind of liability your particular situation may lead to in an agency context.